Welcome to Author Conversations. I'm Chris Dabbs, and today I'm joined by Robert Danger Workman. Yes, Danger Workman, I think you'll find, and he's the author of Assassination Attempt, A Lone Wolf. Now, let's be serious for a second, because Robert writes gritty, hard-boiled action thrillers, which are built around power, corruption, political theatre, and characters who do not exactly tiptoe through life. No. So, at the centre of this novel is New York private investigator Nick Wolfe. Now, Nick's a man pulled into his most dangerous case yet, when the murder of his longtime mentor points towards something that's far bigger than just one crime scene. So, as Wolfe digs deeper, the trail leads into a conspiracy that could reach the highest levels of American power, believe it or not. But this is not just a lone hero story. The book also gives real weight to a group of strong, independent women around Wolfe. Now, that's from Electra Wolfe and Trouble Wolfe to Yvonne Jackson, Natalie Cox, Avalon, Center, and Donna. Now, they're not just there for the hell of it. They're there to bring influence, resilience, humour, and danger of their own and on their own terms. So after that intro, Robert, welcome to Author Conversations. How are you doing?
Thank you, Chris. I'm doing quite well. I think you can see it's a nice day to be talking to someone about books.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see this and I can see your ranch behind you. I'm very jealous because obviously that's all I've got is a studio with me. But there we go. Okay. So let's jump in then straight away because I think we're going to enjoy this conversation. Now, you've written 3 action thriller novels, but you've also written 3 non-fiction books as well. So you're quite prolific as an author, right? So tell us about the books. All of them.
I'll try to make the nonfiction short because we're really going to talk about the novels, and those are what are front and center now. Sure. But I kept getting fired. I was a salesman. Well, I was a writer all my life. And all my friends, they knew what they were going to do in their lives. This friend, he's going to be a mechanic. This guy's going to be an attorney. They're going to law school. This guy's going to be an accountant. They all knew, pretty much going into college. And I was a writer. What am I going to do? My very first paid writing job, I got paid to write sales training literature. I knew nothing about it. I was an academic. I knew nothing about sales. But they gave me all the research. All I had to do was take the research, read it, and then write a little 1,000 word piece on that subject. I thought it was fascinating. I wrote about how to call people to get appointments, how to make presentations, how to ask closing questions, how to actively listen, how to do all. I went into the office one day of my boss and I said, "Hey, Joe, do you think I could, this is really fascinating stuff. Do you think I could try this selling our programs?" He says, "You, a writer, want to go into sales?" The next day, I had an office, a secretary, and a desk, and a phone. And that's all I knew. Anyway, I learned from the best guy you could possibly learn from the get-go. So every job I ever had, I was the number 1 sales guy. And I'm not bragging. I mean, I was number 1 out of 800 people in one team, out of 300 people in another team, out of 100 people in another team. I was consistently number 1, and every time consistently, I got fired. It took about 3 or 4 or 5 years, but it was because the account base was established, the revenue stream was there. Yes, they loved me as their rep, but if I was gone, somebody else could step in that maybe was brand new and could do it for a third of the price that they were paying me the money for. I'm making too much money, so bada boom, bada bing. That company's going in a new direction, and you're not part of that direction. So I wrote a book called Hired Gun. I realized, you know what I am? I'm a hired gun. You got a new company, it needs revenue. It's like the old West town, needs law and order. They'll pay any amount of money to get the guy fast gun in to establish law and order. But then he's there too long, he's too powerful, they're afraid of him, they get him out of there. Same story with every excellent salesman you got. So I wrote 3 books based on that concept. Hired Gun, which sold I got it in airport bookstores because I wanted to sell to traveling salesmen. I had in every airport bookstore from Miami to Anchorage, and it sold out. I sold 10,000 printed copies. Matter of fact, there it is. The original Hired Gun.
There it is, people. Yes. Oh, okay. Right.
So,
yeah.
So, yeah, Hired Gun. So it sold out. It did very well. Started launching a career. Then I brought out the wonderfully creatively titled Hired Gun 2. And, and then I brought out Selling, the Most Dangerous Game. That was 10, 15 years ago. When I retired from that business, which afforded me to be able to live out here, I started writing the novels I always wanted to write and just couldn't get to because I was in the city. I was making money. I was driven. I didn't have time to be creative. I had to work. So now out here, I get here 1 year and I've cranked out 2 novels. And after 3 years, I've finished the 3rd one. And now I'm writing the 4th one. It's a lot different out here to write than it is in the city. I mean, I lived in downtown Dallas in a warehouse that I bought. And I just was a hermit crab, built it up around me and lived there. Tried to write at night after I worked. But I mean, I had sirens and police and people banging on my door to buy drugs and just all kinds of. I got out. Now, here comes a book. And before I finished the first book, I wrote the first chapter of the second book. And before I was halfway through the second book, I wrote the first chapter of this book, Assassination Attempt, which was Jack getting murdered. And yes, it's really set to take place. This new book is set, Assassination Attempt, takes place on the sesquicentennial, upcoming. And it's in past tense. So when you read it, you're reading a first-person, past tense, neo-noir, black and white detective thriller that hasn't happened yet. Now, July 5th, it'll all seem correct. But yeah, he just goes to work out, goes upstairs to the gym, sees a homicide detective he knows there and wonders why he's there, and his best friend has been murdered. And all he knows is, my best friend, my mentor, my sensei has been knifed in the back, ice picked in the back. So it's just almost a personal vendetta. I'm going to get the killer. No, you're staying out of this. No, I'm getting the killer. One thing after another leads to different things that tell you the reason why Jack got murdered is he was on the discovery of a big impending event, which is the assassination of the president on the sesquicentennial as he speaks to the nation from the base of the Statue of Liberty. How are they going to do it? They have no clue. Who is going to do it? They have no clue. They know what, when, where, and why. They don't know who, and they don't know how, and that's what the book.
Great premise. Love that. I love that. And it's timely as well, isn't it? Of course.
Well, go ahead.
No, go on. You will say.
Well, when you said timely, it just triggered. I'm sorry. I couldn't help but respond. They keep feeding me material. These books are easy. The material is easy for me to write about. I just wrap my story around what's happening. I almost feel like I'm plagiarizing. My first book, Maximum Prejudice, was all about Pizzagate, the pedophiles in Washington, D.C., and I named them the Bertner House Group, the secret organization that runs the world financially, and how he takes those down. That's our first exposure to Nick Wolfe. In that book, it centers around his rescue of this child that he met previously. And that child happens to be the son of the world's wealthiest widow who has 640,000 acres in South Texas as a cattle ranch and was recently widowed by the owner of the biggest fracking oil company in North Texas. So it was like a marriage of South Texas cattle and North Texas oil fracking. And so she's this multi-billionaire on the cover of Forbes Fortune. He meets her. She falls for him. He rescued her son. The next book begins with their marriage. It is called Immigration Invasion. When I wrote that, we had 20 million people coming across our southern border willy-nilly. So I staged it. There is an Alamo at the southern border. On the southern border, there is an Alamo. It was used when they filmed the movie by John Wayne, The Alamo. It's in a town called Brackettville, Texas. The whole Alamo village is there, still reconstructed to be a replica, three-quarter replica of the whole compound. It was a tourist site for a lot of years. So they end up defending against an invasion that is focused at that point at the Alamo with like 1,000 volunteers against 40,000 combined Chinese, Hamas, and Mexican drug cartels coming across the border to invade and take Joint Base San Antonio. and then fire missiles at the U.S. from inside the U.S. where they can't be tracked. So he and Electra, his new wife, are on their honeymoon, going down to South Texas on a train, and the next thing you know, they're at the Alamo with machine guns defending against this invasion. And then there's assassination attempt. So these things just keep coming up, and I go, I can wrap a book around that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, hey, that sounds great. It's obviously something that you really enjoy doing, right? So you can't argue with that. I mean, I was going to ask you about sometimes, your writing seems to be kind of, well, how can I say? I don't know. You walk a fine line, I think, between valid social comment, don't you, and the totally absurd. I mean,
that's what they say. That's what I've been told.
Yeah, getting a train down to South Texas, please,
Mm-hmm.
with machine guns and stuff. But I don't know what the laws are like there in South Texas.
Oh, well, it's the 3rd Brigade of the Texas Army. The Texas has its own army, and the 3rd Brigade of that army, its responsibility is 1,230 miles of the southern border. Mostly road construction, emergency, but it is the Texas Armed Forces Army. And the 3rd Brigade is right there. And so who do I have? You might like this. I have the commander of the general in charge of the 3rd Brigade of the Texas Army in my book is General Reese Willoughby. He's Scottish. He married a Texan 10 years ago. They moved over here. So he is the general over like 500 Texas Army troops at Brackettville, ordered by the governor. And then some volunteers, like period reenactor volunteers with their cannons, black powder cannon, and other volunteers that come. And about 1,000 guys find out and show up at the Alamo to defend. And so they're showing up with whatever they got. I got old coots with their duck guns shooting down drones from the corner.
But you know what? That's probably what it would be like, right? So, I mean, it's not that absurd if you think about it. If there was a call to arms, everyone would go with whatever they had, right?
Yeah, yeah. And so, you've got an army there. You've got an army with army stuff, but you already got 500 guys. And you got other guys that show up, but they bring what they've got, lever actions. And, So, yeah, you're right. I walk a fine line.
Well, brilliant. Well, let's get on to Nick Wolfe then, because he feels like a very old school kind of private eye, right? And he's dropped into this modern political world of which he knows nothing, I guess. But what kind of hero did you actually want him to be, if you know what I mean?
I'm really happy with the way he turned out. I really am, because, when you start writing, I didn't think I was going to write several books. I wrote one book, Maximum Prejudice. That was my book. And who is he, and what is he, and where does he operate out of, and what's his background? All of that is in there. But each book that I write I wrote it to stand on its own. So if you only picked up Immigration Invasion, you go, wow, this was fun to read. But the trail, the arc goes through the books. They meet, he and Electra meet, they get married at the Alamo. The Alamo happens, assassination attempt, they are married, but she wants him to get out of the case because it's too dangerous, and he's not going to, because he's going to get the guy who killed Jack. So it arcs through, and now in this 4th book, she's fed up with being the wife. He gets to have all the fun. She's convinced him to retire so that he's not in danger anymore. So who's running around trying to solve this 4th case? Electra. Not knowing what the hell she's doing, but getting into trouble. And that's the name of his sister, Trouble. His sister, yeah. Electra. Yeah, Nick Wolfe's sister is Trouble Wolfe, and she is a pointillist artist. She's got an artist mentality, just woo out there. But she's a pointillist artist with a Tommy gun. And she can draw your portrait with a Tommy gun on a plate of steel at 25 feet. And that's not totally out there either, because in the 1900s, the fabulous Topperwains were hired by Winchester to show off their new Winchester repeating rifles, and they toured the U.S. drawing Indian chiefs in full headdress on tin plates with their rifles. So she's just brought it up to date. So she chimes in every once in a while with her Tommy gun.
So, which is great, right? So yeah. That's exactly what you want, right?
Yeah.
women with guns who are artists.
Hot
Okay.
women with guns. These women are beautiful. I mean, in Assassination Attempt, Avalon is the world's hottest, top, stunning, drop your jaw model. And she's got the hots for Nick. There are a couple confrontations of Nick, his wife Electra, who's also stunningly beautiful, and Avalon.
Well, yeah.
Those I had fun writing.
Yeah, I bet. I bet you did. I think that's the subject of another book. Sorry, another
Oh,
interview at some
oh,
stage, a late night one probably. But so why was it important to you then to make sure that women weren't just like background figures, or like in a James Bond novel where they end up dead usually? I
hmm
mean, why did you want to move away from that?
that's very good. Because in my life they have been. I mean, I've gone through my life and achieved a hell of a lot of good things, but pretty much every time, if I look at who was supporting me on getting that thing done, it was some really sharp, competent female person. And I've worked for several as well. I never had a problem working for a female boss if they were competent enough for me to work for them, and I admire them. And some of these people are amalgams of people that I know. Some of these characters, like I have a lot of this one with a little bit of this and a little bit of that thrown in, and there she is in the book. They're not foreign, complete fictional characters. So a lot of these events and a lot of these people are real. They change the names to protect the guilty.
Exactly. But no, that's great though, isn't it? That you can draw on
hmm
your experiences of strong, well, women, strong men, all that sort of stuff. Because you obviously write in a way that is sort of like neo noir, right? So what's it,
hmm
new sort of black and white kind of thing. There's rain, there's cigarettes, there's city streets, there's hard boiled dialogue and danger around every corner. So, I mean, what attracts you to that style now more so than say the nonfiction?
I don't know where I picked it up, but I was only like 17. I'd say 17. I picked up I the Jury by Mickey Spillane and read it. It just grabbed me to where I couldn't let loose of it. And when I went to college, I was on the track team, and you're all living together in a dorm. I'm there the first day. I got 40 friends, and they found out. I was talking about stuff. We're talking about things we like or do, and they within about a month, 4 or 5 guys, they'd meet in the hallway and they'd be quoting lines from I the Jury at each other. And I remember I got fascinated. I started reading a lot of Mickey Spillane books. I like the first person narrative. I think it pulls you, you're really in the story. It limits his perspective, but it limits it so you're discovering along with the character. I like that, right? I don't like I think third person's too easy. I mean, if I need something to happen third person, okay, over here, meanwhile, this guy, this character, I'll invent him and he's doing this this guy doesn't know about. And okay, you can do that, but I'd rather have you focused on the discovery, the involvement of how does he find this out and how does he move forward? What accident falls in his lap that he normally wouldn't, things like that. So I remember talking to my mom, highly, highly, highly intelligent, one of your highly intelligent, strong women. She was president of the American Association of University of Women in Washington, D.C., just very smart. And she read every Agatha Christie book 3, 4, 5 times. She read every Leo Sayers book 3, 4, 5 times. Just all these mysteries. And I asked her once, I said, what would you say is the difference between the mystery books you like to read and the ones I like to read, like Mickey Spillane or Raymond Chandler? She said, well, my books are a little more intellectual.
Thanks, Mom.
It's so true. It's so true. They
Oh,
are.
is it? I mean,
They're
the
these
dime store stuff, right?
Yeah, but I like smashing the guy in the jaw with your fist and skinning your knuckles. I like that. So I like to read books for guys who like to read books, and I like to write books for guys who like to read books. And this new one's on audiobook. It's been submitted.
Great.
They take 10 days to approve it and post it and everything, but it'll be everywhere: Amazon, Spotify, iTunes, and Audible. hopefully this week, and uh, and that will be fun. I'll tell you why, because the guys who produced it, it's voice, it's author narrated, so it's me. You're gonna hear me as Nick Wolfe, but they got a
That'll work though. That will actually work, Robert, wouldn't it? I mean, because
I
if
think
you're
it's fun.
invested in it.
I know how to intonate what he's thinking or saying because I wrote it. So we'll see if I did any good. But they got a voice actress who did 7 female roles. The ones you named, every one is a different voice actress. She did Electra like a billionaire, beautiful woman. She did Donna like a Bedford Stuyvesant Brooklyn secretary. She did Avalon like a French model from Marseille. I mean, I want to hear this book in its entirety. I haven't heard it chapter 1 to 47 yet. I want to hear it just for the female voices interplay, you know?
So
So,
am I think, by the sounds of it. Because I mean, I've narrated a few sort of audiobooks
yeah,
myself, and I know how
ah,
difficult the characters are, right?
yeah.
So yeah, wow, that's incredible. So okay, so I'm really interested though. You mentioned about Nick, and you mentioned writing books, tough guy books for guys that like to read books, right? So what did you discover about Nick Wolfe then while writing this book? Obviously it's the third, right? Or fourth, did you say? Sorry. That surprised you most about him. I mean, where did he go that you just didn't consider he was going to go?
When I write him, I write him thinking. First person, you got to use every leverage you can have at your hands. So I give the reader insight into his thinking. When I do that, it's in italics. So you'll have a whole paragraph, or maybe just 3 words in italics. Like in this one, he's thinking, uh, I don't think she bought it, did she? Anyway, um, I have them in italics. And what did surprise me, and it was in the very first book. Matter of fact, since you bring it up, I it surprised me how deep his feelings could go. When he decides that he's going to rescue this kid that's been kidnapped on the national news, he's the son of Elector White, the billionaire. He's been kidnapped, and he just played catch with him in the rain the day before. He jumps on a train back from New York to D.C. to find him, and he goes underground literally to find him. And in writing about how he thought about this kid, and then what he thought about these other kids that he rescued in the process, like 2 dozen of them in cages, uh, that surprised me. That was fun to. It was fun to learn that range, and not just a top level, superficial, tough guy with a fist and a 45. He's a guy with all of that plus much more. I mean, his Derringer that I call it is a sawed off 12 gauge pistol. You know, that's his Derringer. He's a
Yeah,
big guy. That's his Derringer.
well, it must be, right?
Yeah, he's 6'4" and 243. But then he's rushing at the bodyguard. He says, "Oh yeah," he's thinking, "Let's see how you handle the bums rush of 6'4" and 243 pounds." And it's Senta, the girl, and she kicks him, breaks his jaw. Yeah, she broke my jaw. So
You just love your own books. This is great stuff.
oh, it's fun to write, yeah. And oh God, in Assassination Attempt, I told people as I'm writing, I have some people that like to read, the first 2 and are looking for. So I've told them, oh God, I put him through hell. That poor guy, he goes through just hell in this book.
Oh my gosh. Well, do you know what? Obviously, this is great. We're having great fun here, but we are unfortunately running out of time for this
Wow,
session.
wow.
I know, it's incredible. So let's get to this then, right? For readers coming up for your work, for the first time, what kind of ride should they expect from Assassination Attempt to Lone Wolf? Because you said that you can come into each book separately, right?
Yes, you can come into any book as separate. If the theme of immigration invasion that appeals to you more, grab that one. It's a book on its own. But yeah, I will tell you what I love to read the reviews because most of them are favorable. But I don't care if somebody gives me I tell people at like book signing events, I don't care if you give me a 1 or 2 star review. Give me a review, but just make it honest. Like, hey, the only thing this book's good for is a doorstop. I would probably put that up as my post-it and pin it at the top as my first review. The one I got said, and I distinctly remember it. What did I just read? Is it satire? Is it action? Is it mystery? I don't know. But I do know this. It was a wild ride. So I would tell anybody, any one of my books, if you're going to pick it up, get ready for a wild ride.
Excellent. Well, you see, Robert, that is it. Because okay, now I've got the great question to end with, right? So, did you ever worry this ride that you were writing? Did you ever worry that the story was going to go too far, or is that exactly the point? That's what you were after.
Oh no, because the first three books, first one happens. It's in October. 6 months later, they're married in the White House Rose Garden. Second book. It's only 6 months later. The third book is not even a year later. They're still newlyweds when it's July 4, 2026, because they got married on June of 26. So I haven't even transpired a year yet in the character arcs here. And they're still technically, the next book, the fourth book, it's a Christmas book. It's called Christmas Cult 45. It's set in LA this time. So we go from New York to Texas to LA and
everywhere, basically. So you get your influences from all over. Well, listen, Robert.
They did a good website for it. It's just my name, robert-workman.com. Everything's on there. More than you want to know.
Look at you preempting my next question, right?
Sorry.
So, okay, hang on a second. Robert Danger Workman, you have been great to be with for the last half an hour or so. And I tell you what, thank you for joining me on Author Conversations. I've been Chris Dabbs, but the book is Assassination Attempt, A Lone Wolf, a gritty political thriller featuring private investigator Nick Wolfe, a murder investigation that spirals towards a national conspiracy, and a cast of powerful characters who bring danger, loyalty, and sharp social comment to the page. You can find Robert's work through his Amazon author page and look for Assassination Attempt, A Lone Wolf wherever you get your books. And obviously, the audiobook's going to be coming out soon. And can you just tell us again what your website is, Robert?
Yeah, just robert-workman.com.
There you go. Perfect. Well, I hope you enjoyed having this conversation with me, Robert. And if you enjoyed, listeners and viewers, then please follow Author Conversations for more interviews with writers about the stories, ideas, and experiences behind their books. But what I would say is that, as we've been hearing, Robert wants to hear your comments. So make sure that you comment down below, leave a review on the book, and leave a review on the interview. Make your voice heard, as it were. So thanks again once more, Robert Danger Workman, for joining me on Author Conversations.
Thank you much, Chris. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
See you soon.
See you.
Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can watch more Author Conversations here.